But if you're doing it automatically on a monthly basis, you're going to max out regardless. And so that's why I try to get people to do that monthly, because it just becomes one of your bills, just like any other monthly payment or contribution or anything that you do. It just becomes monthly. Just like I give monthly to the church, it's a bill for me. I don't have to write a check at the end of the year or write a check during the year. It's something that comes out of my account. It's built into my budget. So I think your contributions to your Roth IRA and any other investment account should be done that way.
Welcome to How to Money with Cole and Cole.
I'm Cole.
And I'm Cole.
We coach people every day on their money and how to plan for the future.
As financial advisors, we're here to have an honest conversation on investing, retirement, and everything in between.
At Full Swing Financial Planning, we're here to empower you to take control of your plan, your way, for your financial future.
So let's talk money.
And sports.
Welcome back to How to Money with Cole and Cole. New year, same guy, same podcast, still here, full year.
2024, let's go.
Woo! A lot happened in 2023.
Yeah, we did have a lot happen in 2023, and 2024 is going to be just as epic, I think.
Yeah, we're excited. So, Cole, Caleb's here. We're going to talk a
How's it
little
going?
sports quick because the NFL is hot.
Got to get our sports talk in.
Yeah.
Yeah, NFL is at the best time of the season, I think.
And national championship tonight.
Yeah.
So.
It's actually the most stressful time in my household, so it's not a good time. Dead
Poor-
serious.
For the
Poor
Cowboys
Luke,
to
poor
choke
Luke.
again and your husband to be sad.
Yeah,
That's exactly what happens.
I saw when they were playing the Packers. I was like, oh no, that's like the one team I wouldn't want to see.
That's what he said. He goes, we're playing the Packers. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, the Packers have been hot lately.
Yeah, they're definitely playing well.
Yeah, so what do you guys think is going to happen? What are your predictions?
I'll go through the 6 games and give me your winners.
Okay.
Packers, Cowboys, Cole Peterson,
Cowboys.
Bailey.
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
All right. Rams at Lions, Cole P.
I'm going to go Rams there.
Okay. Upset.
Ooh,
I'm going to go Lions.
Lions.
Okay. Philadelphia Eagles at the Buccaneers. Eagles will be favored in that game.
Eagles are favored. I'll take the Eagles.
I got to take the Eagles because
Eagles, but it's crazy to see their back quarter of the season's been pretty bad, but
They've lost 5 out of 6.
Yeah, if you look at any odds, they still have like crazy odds that it'd be worth like, a betting man to throw something on them getting to the Super Bowl.
All right. So that's the.
I'm sitting with 2 betting men, I feel like.
Nah.
And then, of course, the 49ers have the bye. So then in the AFC, the Ravens have the bye. 7-seed Steelers at Bills. We'll go backwards this time. Cole Jasky, Steelers at Bills.
I'm voting with my heart here. I'm a Steelers fan, so I'm going Steelers.
Okay. Bailey.
Bills. Sorry, Cole.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, Bills.
Bills. Okay.
Our best player's hurt, so,
We have Kansas City Chiefs. Miami Dolphins at Kansas City. So Tyreek Hill's return to Kansas City in the playoffs. Cole Jasky.
Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Okay.
Chiefs.
I'm taking Dolphins.
Oh, man. So
I'm taking the
I
upset
kind of
there.
wanted to, but I picked
Just-
the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
just to note, Cole Jasky picked the Dolphins to make the Super Bowl. So he's picking against his Super Bowl pick.
True, but I just think, the weather's going to be really cold. Like,
It
it's
is
supposed to be
gonna be cold.
really, really, really
Oh,
cold.
yeah.
I remember I was at a Steelers-Dolphins game, a playoff game, I don't know, like a handful of years ago. It was the coldest game I've ever been to in my life or played in, and the Dolphins got absolutely smacked. So I can't, I can't forget that memory. So I think that happens again.
All right. And then the final wild card game, we've got Joe Flacco's Cleveland Browns with their 4th starting quarterback versus, I think, the surprise team of the playoffs, the Houston Texans.
I'm going to take the Texans.
Okay.
I like 4-string underdog stories. I'm going to take the Browns.
All right.
I'm staying with the Texans. I think they're going to surprise everybody in the playoffs.
Yeah. I want the Texans to make a crazy run. Just
Yeah,
for
CJ
fun.
Stroud's playing really well.
Yeah, I'm
So-
impressed by him. I thought he was not going to be that great, and he is a stud.
Yeah. So you got Tyreek Hill's return to Kansas City. I think the biggest storyline will be Matt Stafford returning to Detroit for a playoff game. That'll be an interesting one, but it'll be a crazy weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
And
awesome games.
And the Super Bowl picks bet is still on, and I'm already down because one of my teams didn't even make the playoffs. So
You
not a
are
great
now.
start.
Still got the Niners going strong.
Yeah. Do we want to go over that and tell everybody who we have? Just a reminder.
Chiefs and the Cowboys. It's
That's
who I
Bailey.
have, guys. Yeah, I was like, follow up.
I have the Ravens and the 49ers.
I have the Dolphins and the 49ers, and I don't think the Dolphins they're losing this weekend or the following weekend. So
So you're not
I think Cole P is the leader in the clubhouse if I were to judge this looking on paper.
Well, both my teams automatically make it to next weekend, so that's good.
Yeah, you're alive.
Off to a great
yeah.
start.
Yeah, I can't lose anybody this weekend.
I've got the Bengals eliminated already in the 49ers. So I'm riding with the 49ers. They need to win the whole thing for me to even have a chance at not losing.
In your team's coach list currently at the moment. So, and your owner's throwing drinks on people. So you got a lot of bad things going.
My personal team is by
Casually.
far and away the worst team in the league. So it's whatever.
Yeah, for those that haven't listened, he's a big Carolina Panthers fan, which, Caleb, sorry.
Sorry about your life.
They're not good, and they're not getting much better not being able to have their number one pick since they traded it to the Bears. I got a phone call yesterday. Got offered 2 free tickets to the Iowa women's game this Saturday against number 14 Indiana.
And I heard you were giving a ticket to your favorite employee.
I instantly thought of you. I was like, oh my gosh, Bailey would die. But I think me and Molly are going to be able to go. I took the tickets regardless. I was going to call you and let you know, but Molly was really excited to go to. It's a Saturday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And she's just inching that scoring record, Caitlin Clark. Like every home game is going to be awesome because she's just going to.
How's Indiana?
They're number 14.
Oh,
it's going to be,
so
and it's a rivalry.
Yeah, it'll be vibey then.
Yeah, that's the game that Caitlin hit the fake kind of fadeaway 3-pointer at the end of the
I was there
game last year.
That's the one me and Chelsea went to.
Yeah.
It is going to be a great game, and she just casually dropped 29, 10, and 10. But everyone else is playing really good now. Like Stolke's playing really good. Gabby hit some threes, so they're hot right now.
They're getting better. She's predicted to break the scoring record February 15th against Michigan at home, which I think would be cool if she did it at home. That'd be awesome.
I want it to. And actually, me and my sister were talking about that because she has season tickets. I'm like, I want to be at the game when she's like, it's attainable.
Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be cool. But all right, well, we got to get off sports. I think we should probably get on to actual finances, something we know something about.
And goals. We got to get to our goals. New year, same us, but maybe some new intentions. But first, we're going to go over our last year goals, and the guys are smiling.
Oh boy.
Here, you want me to read them?
Yeah, sure. Do you want them?
I'll be the MC for this, and then we'll see how you did.
So it's in the middle page. So last year, beginning of the year, which means this was our first full year of a podcast. We're still here.
All right, so let's see. Who should we make go first today?
Not me.
All right, we'll do Bailey. How about that?
Yeah, there we
go.
Let's see. So Bailey's goals, she had 2 of them, were she wanted to lift more.
Check.
As in weightlifting, right?
Yes.
Yes. And she wanted to intentionally read 10 to 15 minutes a day.
I would say 75% succeeded that goal.
All right, there you go. Good job. So,
Way better than my percentage.
clap.
All right, let's see here. We've got Cole Jasky said he wants to try more.
Sorry.
Bailey is.
I flopped on one pretty hard. I'm not gonna
Cole
lie.
wanted to try to have more control of his schedule and be home at 6 p.m. or earlier every night.
Ooh, I would say.
Crickets.
I'm gonna asterisk this of like I didn't expect us to go through a broker dealer transition. And,
okay, so before the broker dealer transition,
I was probably doing like 50%. I would say success rate. The more control of my schedule, definitely not, and that's going to be tied to another goal that I'm going to make for the 2024 year here when we talk about that. And I would say I failed miserably on the control of schedule. And then I was about halfway through the year. I would say I was doing pretty well on the 6 p.m. And then we made a transition the back half of the year. And my wife would say I failed miserably at that one too.
All right, and then your
Negative
second
20%.
goal was, and I have a feeling I know where this is going, joint 3 family meals per week together at dinner for connection.
I would say we're
I did get that.
definitely closer on that one for the family wise. That's the problem. My wife and I do. Neither one of us are
Chefs.
Yeah, we're not chefs, but we just we like to eat out. We do that just so we're convenience people, so a little harder. But I would say I'm closer on that one than any of them.
You need a Molly in your house to cook.
Yeah.
All right, and that leaves. Okay, so mine was I was going to buy a house. I did that.
Check.
That was my only goal. So this year I have better goals for this to give. So Cole Peterson,
He's smiling.
you wanted to work out more. Okay. Not off to a good start. You wanted to sleep better.
I would say that goal, I'm going to give that one a check mark. I think I slept better this year.
All right. And then you wanted to have 1 date night a month with your wife.
Yeah, that kind of took a backseat too to several other things, kind of like Cole stated, especially with the broker dealer change later this year. So,
but pre-broker dealer,
probably not good. And I put a note in my phone to try to schedule those this year. So,
so any
Cole Jaskie's laughing because we'll be at work and we'll see on Cole's calendar date night Molly.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it gets erased because somebody has to have a meeting.
So we'll just say that anything you failed in 23 continues over to 24 as part of your 24 goals. Maybe
I'm gonna modify mine.
All right. All right. So
you're not gonna be home earlier.
No, that's gonna happen too. I'm getting better.
All right. So now we got to move on to what are some new goals that you have for 2024. I just
want to say, see, we're just regular people like you guys. We fail, we succeed, and
we probably fail a little bit more than everybody else.
Fail forward.
All right. Cole Peterson, can you give me at least 2 goals that you have for the year of 2024? It could be personal, work-related, family-related, whatever it might be. What are your goals for 2024?
Okay, so the date night with Molly, I'm going to set that up. Like, I got to set the dates up in my calendar. These guys are going to make fun of me, but I'm going to try to do that 6 times in 2024. And we're going to talk about this. Like, you have to put you can't just say date night with Molly. Like, you got to put, a number on it. Like, I'm going to try to have 6. So half of the months, yes, half of the months, no. My second goal is to stop biting my fingernails. And I know it sounds really gross, but I bit them since I was a little child. And I really want to stop doing that. So I've made that a personal goal of mine. And so far I'm failing, but I'm going to try.
I will say this with goals. I think everyone thinks, okay, if I don't succeed right away, like in January or February, I'm not going to do it. Like, honestly, it takes a lot of time to get it habitually in your system and continue it to do it. So I just wanted to say
goal to a habit. That's the
the
goal of the goal.
Like, my goal was lifting, and I did not lift in the beginning of the year, but the last 4 or 5 months I've lifted consistently every month. So like,
it's swole.
You can't see it over the sweatshirt, but my biceps are huge.
Well, I've told my 9-year-old son, David, that he can holler at me every time he sees me biting my nails. So
I can say something too.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Yep.
I like it.
Yeah. Anybody
good accountability.
Yes. Anybody, because to tell you the truth, it's a habit when you've done something since you were a small child. You don't even realize you're doing it.
Kids love that too, by the way.
I don't even realize I'm doing it.
I'm sure he'll eat that up. David will be like, Dad?
No pun intended.
Yeah.
But because I say it to you too, and you're like, what? I am? You do it when you're deep in thought, or I think.
Right.
Yep.
For sure. And I do it really bad when I'm driving. I got one more.
All right.
I want to make sure every week we're spending some time either with golf or enjoyment time, like just sometime during the week. So I'm going to make that a goal.
So you want to golf more?
Yeah. Well, golf kind of took a back seat last year after we got going to the transition. Like, I think I played once in September and once in October, which is unusual for me. And for those people that don't golf, they think that maybe doesn't sound like that abnormal. But people that do golf, you want to golf once to twice a week to kind of
keep your swing going.
Keep it going.
See what I did there? Swing.
Yeah.
And we don't do, I mean, you're similar to me. It's like you work, your family, chasing kids around. Like, that's kind of our happy hobby, like guilty pleasure, I would say. So
I'll say this. You have to do things you're due just for enjoyment to be able to give to your family, be able to give to work. Because if you're just continuously doing that hamster wheel, you're going to get burned out.
All right. So that was Cole Peterson. Now, how about Cole Jasky? What you got?
Yeah, so I have one business goal and 2 personal goals. Or I mean, sometimes the personal goals do relate to business, but my first business goal is going to be, related to my 2023 of more control in my schedule. And I was telling the gang here off mic that I'm going to try to eliminate one business segment from my entrepreneur side of my business. I have a lot of entities and partnerships and things there, and I'm gonna find a way to eliminate one. I've got one already kind of earmarked, so that's where maybe I know I can hit this goal if I do that and stay to it. And that's more tied back to my schedule of like I'm getting a little thin, and I want to be able to make sure I can devote the proper time to here with Full Swing or some of the other places that I do have employees and other people relying on me.
Well, and you guaranteed us that it's not going to be the Full Swing financial.
No, it's not this one.
Okay,
yeah, it's not this one for sure.
He's staying
for sure
because I don't think we want to take on another change right now.
Yeah, it'd be hard to find another Cole for the podcast. Okay, so that's, and hopefully relates to better schedule management, right, for me. My personal side, first is going to be, Bailey was talking about health. Health's a big thing, and working out's a huge thing for me. Like mentally, it helps me a lot. And I have a tendency to be really, really solid with my schedule, my health schedule in the winter when there's less like activities outside. Golf in particular will throw off my schedule, or a lot of things tailor around that schedule. But I'm more consistent in the winter when there's not a lot going on like outside, or you can't be outside late. And I tail off in the summer, and I want to find a way to be more consistently, going to the gym, staying on healthier eating habits, things all throughout the year, not just in the winter when it's a little more, or it's a little easier for my schedule. And then the last one is I listen to a ton of books, like tons. I probably 30 books a year I listen to, but I don't physically read a lot of books. And I do know there's a lot of science that says physically reading correlates to intelligence not as well as listening. And I want to read 6 books, like physical books, this year, some point throughout the year. And I have one.
We both have a 6 goal. I got 6 dates. You got 6 books.
Yeah, and I have one I'm in the middle of. So,
Which one?
So it's actually a biography on Jesus. And I'm not an overly religious person by any means, but I listened to a podcast that got me on to read that book.
Andrew, was it Huberman?
No, it's a podcast called Founders. So.
Huberman was just talking about, he's like the guy of science, and he's been reading the Bible and getting more into it, which people are like, whoa, because he's like.
And this is more the story, like a biography, not so much like the story of the Bible. It's like a biography on
I got
Jesus,
a couple books you can borrow.
Yeah.
All right. So this is funny. I'll go ahead and do mine because mine are actually oddly similar to Cole Jasky's in a way. So I actually have 4, but one of them is like they'll get a kick out of one of them. So my business goal is in the year 2023, I really wanted to improve as a web designer, and I could feel like I did that based on the work I did beginning of year to end of year. The year 2024, I want to do that as a graphic designer, to where right now, whenever someone's like, I have a graphic design project, I'm like, take it to one of my coworkers. I'm not that good of a graphic designer. Whereas by the end of the year, I want to be able to feel like I can just take on whatever project and do it. So that's my business goal. So my 3 personal goals are, I currently do not work out at all, and I want to consistently work out 3 to 4 days a week. Because right now I work out 0 days a week.
You can only go up.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
And then I don't read at all. And we didn't talk about these ahead of time, some of these. And so he said he wants to read 6 books. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say I want to read 3 to 4 books this year because, again, I'm not a reader. I'll listen to podcasts. I'll listen to books, but I don't read. And then my last one is I need to meet with a financial advisor in the year 2024. So
I know a guy.
We know some guys, some people.
Funny.
all right.
That's hilarious.
Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
And just so everybody knows, I've reached out to Caleb and said that if he wanted
did.
to
Oh,
meet.
I know you have. I'm not.
he did. And so that's one of my that's my like financial goal for the year is to meet with financial
Hey,
advisor.
shout out too. We had a listener last week reach out. They found the podcast. I didn't even tell you this, Caleb. Found the podcast and binged it over the holiday weekend and reached out from a different state and got an appointment with us.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and that was a question that she asked is that, do we take clients from other states? And yes, we are not licensed in every state, but we can get licensed in any state. So if you're in a different state that's not Iowa, either we are licensed or we will get licensed if you would like to, have us take over your financial
Majority
business.
of states, I would
I
say,
thought was
between the
cool.
office, we're
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
able to serve, unless
Yeah.
it's like some of the off the wall states. But
Yeah.
What's an off the wall?
yeah, I know that was bad. I shouldn't say that.
There's
So.
50
I knew what you
states in the
meant.
U.S.
Yeah.
and they're all like
Yeah. I don't
all
have
legally
Hawaii. I don't have
states.
Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii.
I don't have Alaska. Probably. Yeah.
Like Maine.
Yeah.
Like
I
Maine
don't
would be
have
like
Maine.
very far from
but I
us,
have like
Yes, I knew what you
Montana.
meant.
Yeah, I have Montana too.
I've got a couple
Yeah.
of
all right.
kind of.
Got to
Yeah.
narrow it back here. All right, that leaves us with one person left to give her
Always
goals.
save the best for last.
Yeah,
Always.
she was the most successful in 2023. So,
Shocker.
all right, 2024, Bailey Ashbrook. What are your goals?
I'm trying to decide which ones I would like to share with the listeners. For work, because that'll be an easy one, and it's just like not really a measurable goal, but just for myself, because I know we'll have our own work goals as a team. But I like, no matter what, like like if people are having a bad day or have a coworker that's busy or the guys might be overwhelmed, my energy does not change at work. Like, so if I'm not saying that we have we usually are all pretty high energy, but my goal is to just always continue to bring a positive high energy so it's contagious at work. So that'd probably be my work goal.
So you don't think you did that in 2023? Because I think you did.
I do. I just like to be intentional, like really
Okay.
like for example, like maybe you're not around. Like if Emily feels really overwhelmed, like I don't want to like, okay, yeah, we're overwhelmed. Like I don't want to meet her there. Like, sorry, Emily, I just use your example because that's who I usually work with throughout the day. But, and then 2 personal goals. What do I want to share? Me and Luke, one of my main goals is take a trip with Luke because poor hubby got probably shafted last year with time. With the transition and 3 kids, I feel like we could do better spending a little time. And we used to take a lot of trips and be adventurous, and we haven't gone on a trip, just us 2. We've been taking friend trips, so that'd probably be one. And then
I can help you with one of those.
I know we were talking about his Airbnb, but yeah, because we love to hike, so that's why I was like, ah.
Be great.
And then this sounds weird to you, but connection. Like one of my main goals for 2024 is like vulnerability and connection with friends, not with like Luke or coworkers. Like to spend intentional time with a friend and have enjoyment.
How are you going to measure that goal?
Do I feel like I have a true friend I could go with like during a really hard time or vulnerability? Because like right now, if you ask me, I'm like, oh, I don't really hang out with anyone because it's so easy. I'm very routine. So I stay in my routine. I stay in my bubble. So for me to go out and hang out with friends means I might have to stay up past 8 o'clock.
You want to be able to answer that question at the end of the year.
Yes.
Yeah, I like
thank
it.
you.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's our goals for 2024. We're going to do a end of June check-in on them, and then we'll see in the end of the year how well we did.
I like the accountability, end of June check-in, and that's the nice thing about doing having it recorded. We have the fact check. We
Yes.
can the fact checkability.
Bailey fact checked our goals from 2023 this morning. She went back and listened to make sure she got it all right.
I
written down.
did. It was great. Well, and I just like this too because you're not always going to hit your goals. And I think I like to use the word intentions versus goals. Like I want to be like intentional about this year. I want to be intentional with hanging out with Molly or be intentional about reading. Like I think a lot of people put pressure and like, okay, I got to hit this goal and I got to do it right away, especially even with money. Like, okay, if I don't save right away, do it right away, I'm never going to do it. And they kind of like let that continue. Like you can continue to be intentional about it throughout the year. And it doesn't have to happen right away.
So I think we're going to talk about some common goals that people set, and we'll do that after dollars and cents here. But some common goals that people set, but they aren't specific about it, or they don't have an actual action item to do that. We're going to give you some ways to take that and make an action item and actually succeed at that goal.
Yes. All right, let's do the first dollars and cents of 2024.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Mortgage rates are plummeting. Should home buyers jump into the market? This is such a. I feel like we've talked about mortgage rates a lot this
It's been
past
a hot topic.
year and a half. And home ownership's always, generally a lot of people in the U.S. Their number one source of their net worth is a lot of times in their home ownership. And this was an article Cole sent us over the weekend and dove into it a little bit. And it was really talking about the move in interest rates on October 26th. The 30-year fixed rate mortgage was hit its peak last year, 7.79%.
Jeez.
Oh, which is crazy when a lot of people the last 3 years were getting sub 3% 30-year. Yeah.
2.25.
Yep. So, but what the article was talking about was the drive down over about a month and a half period. The 30-year fixed rate went from 7.79 to 6.61, which, I mean, you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars of difference in interest payments over a 30-year, hundreds of thousands of dollars, honestly, depending on how big your mortgage is. But what it was really going is, should people buy? And should you buy right now? Should you wait? And I think, we had a conversation a little bit, and everyone thinks about this a little differently. Mm-hmm. I think first and foremost, it should make sure it fits with your budget just in general to be able to afford a house first. But I don't think the interest rate move should have the biggest impact of like, should I buy now or should I wait? If you're waiting for the rates to drop 2%, you might be waiting for 6 years. You don't know.
Right.
That's the thing is you got to buy on availability, affordability, and need, that you need to do that. And I was telling Cole about this, that I had a friend that they feel like they need a bigger house. And he said, oh, we're not going to buy because of interest rates. And I'm just like, well, you can always refinance. I mean, I refinanced a couple years back and literally took like 20 minutes.
Yep.
I mean, it does not take that long to do a refinance. So if you buy and get it in at 6%, now still make sure you can afford the payment. Don't do that. But and interest rates drop to 5 or 4%, you can refinance 6 months later after you get your mortgage out. So it's not something that you should, if you need and you can afford and it's something that you want to do and it's available, I would not wait. That's just my recommendation.
Little teaser for future episodes. We do have a mortgage advisor who's going to be a guest on the podcast here within the next month. So we'll be curious to hear his topic. I know he loves to have the buyers, where he's got the activity, but I think the refinance activity even already has started with people that bought last year above 7 and maybe changing from a 30-year to a 15-year. There's a ton of options. So I think, as long as you can afford it, and if you really need it, it's probably something you shouldn't let that have the greatest weight on the decision.
No, I think it always goes back to take care of yourself, and it's all personal to you and what your situation's like. But it will be interesting too, because I don't think houses are ever going to be cheaper than they are. So like when rates go down, it's going to be people are going to be ready to buy.
Unless we have a ton of builders come online or something, like they're just not building the houses. The math. You look at the math.
The math ain't mathin'.
No, it doesn't work.
Math ain't mathin'.
It's a supply demand. I mean, it's a supply demand thing, and there is less supply than the population of the people coming online for buyers. So,
So just take care of yourself. If you need a bigger house and you have the funds to do it and you can afford the payment, Cole P's look at me like, buy it.
Yeah. Hey, I wouldn't tell you to buy outside of your means, but if it's available and you need it, it's something that you buy. So
yeah. It'll be fun to have him on the podcast. Yeah. He'll be really insightful
and hear what's going on in the market and how things are changing.
Yeah. So a lot of goals. We talked about goals personally. It's fun to kind of recap ours and see where we're at. But what are a lot of goals you guys hear from clients like all the time? Like what's a number one goal?
Probably the most common one that I hear is I want to save more. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, what does that look like?
How do I save more? Sometimes they ask it in a question like, how do I save more?
Yeah, there you go. So some action items that you can take on that, and the one that is really common, or one that I recommend to people, is every time that you get a raise, every time that you have something that happens, changes with your salary, raise your contribution, or raise whether it's your 401k, your IRA, whatever it is, just raise that a little bit. And then also put in an automatic raise every year at some point during the year, maybe when you don't get a raise. So there's 2 raises every year that you're saving.
In most 401k plans, just so everyone knows this too, that's listening, might not know this if you don't get online a lot, but most of them have the ability to where you can automatically set that, hey, I want to increase 1% each year until I get to maybe 20% or whatever it is, and then it stops. Most of the websites now and the 401k providers have that ability to do that. So
yeah, it's called an auto increase.
Well, just even automatically having those contributions, if you're like, oh, I'm going to save more, make it automatic. Like, don't even look at that paycheck coming in. Like, have that IRA or Roth IRA or whatever is set up so you don't even have to think, okay, do I need to write a check or anything? Just having that automatic deposit.
And if I think this is one thing, I hear you doing this a lot, Cole, is one thing that I think is a value of working with, whether it's us or an advisor, is we are going to try to push you to increase your contribution. Just like for a simple example, I know you're doing this right now with Ross, went from, last year's dollar amount went from $6,500 to $7,000 if you're below age 50. So we're trying to make sure everyone's we're increasing that for everyone that is doing monthly contributions. So I think, working with an individual that's putting that pressure on you sometimes can really, really help you do that.
Yeah. And most of the time, so I have people talk about how they're going to want to save more and they'll possibly max out their Roth. Most people that don't have a monthly setup rarely ever max out their Roth and rarely ever bring in additional funds. But if you're doing it automatically on a monthly basis, you're going to max out regardless. And so that's why I try to get people to do that monthly, because it just becomes one of your bills, just like any other monthly payment or contribution or anything that you do. It just becomes monthly. Just like I give monthly to the church, it's a bill for me. I don't have to write a check at the end of the year or write a check during the year. It's something that comes out of my account. It's built into my budget. So I think your contributions to your Roth IRA and any other investment account should be done that way.
It's not optional. It is a bill. And that's what I was trying to say. Yes.
Yep. Don't make it optional.
Awesome. So how do you save more? How do you save more, Cole? What would you tell a client?
Yeah, another trick, I guess, kind of goes on with the pay increase, if you get a raise or asking for a raise. I mean, that's one thing of saying, hey, if you've been with a company, not every employer just automatically gives you a raise, and sometimes, and if you think you're valuable and it's worth that conversation, or you feel like, hey, I want to have that conversation at least, you don't know until you ask. So that's one thing. I think that's a great way to segue of like, hey, I'm saving 6% of my salary. Well, if your salary goes up 10% or 5%, you're naturally saving, more percentage based on your salary.
Well, especially the world we're in. Like I tell my husband, he's a plumber. I'm like, go ask for a raise. They absolutely need you. You show up every day. You're hard. Like go ask for a raise like every 6 months.
Sorry for our employer clients who were telling the employees to ask for a raise, but it's
true.
It's part of how the world.
Cost of living's gone up, and it's the world we live in. So yeah. Okay, what's another common goal you think people need or set during this year financially?
Let's say, living within your means. So this kind of goes back to our, our budgeting conversation. We always talk about that, but I'm always an advocate of like, you got to know where your baseline is first. So make sure we're not stepping outside of that. I do feel like, and the credit card data shows this, that people have overspent, the last couple of years, and some of that's coming off COVID and different stimulus and things there. And I think it's really a year that we need to rein that back in and make sure, hey, where was our baseline? Let's make sure we're not overstepping that.
Yeah, and that goes along with that. People a lot of times say, I want to pay off my debt. I want to have no debt by age whatever. Well, come up with a plan, budget, write down what you're doing. And someone that has never budgeted, what I usually tell them to do is either bring me in your statement where you charge most of your stuff, whether it's to a credit card or if you use a debit card or whatever, bring in your statement, and then let's go through 1 month of transactions and we can kind of detail out what those transactions, where's that money going. And you can do it on your own. And there's lots of apps out
Excel
there that you can do.
Google budget app and it'll come up.
But it's something that if you don't budget and you don't know where your money's going every month, if you don't know that you're spending $500 a month on DoorDash, or we talked about
point
something.
at me. Probably true. That's probably light.
$500 at the casino.
That's light.
That would be a light. But if you don't know where your money's going, you don't know how to fix it. And you don't know how to pay it. A lot of people can say, I want to pay off debt, but if you're just making that minimum payment every month, it's going to take a lot longer. But if you make more than that, you're going to pay down principal faster.
Yes.
That's the same as we were talking about the monthly auto increase or auto increase annually. Same thing with your debt. You can treat it the same way. Now, you got to be able to have the budget to support that, but maybe it's, I'm going to pay $150 more on my mortgage every month for this year. That's an auto increase. The other direction, you got to make sure you have the savings and all that on the other end, but that's a way to help. It's a simple, boring goal, but it's one that you can do and very easy. And it's the same way you look at savings. Like, hey, I'm just going to kick it up a little bit per month, and that compounding over that 12 months, 2 years, 5 years will make a drastic difference.
And again, this goes back to what I was saying. It's not going to happen overnight. Like, you're not going to do a budget on paper and like, boom, everything is going to be magically better. Like, I truly think it takes 1 to 3 months to really grasp where your money's going. Okay, this is how much I'm bringing in. This is how much my needs cost. This is where I'm spending my wants and like my savings. And if you can allocate, like, let's say I want to save 15% of my income and you're not hitting that goal, then you know where to adjust. And I think also like annually you have expenses that come up. You're like, oh, I didn't realize every June I'm spending $200 on my car tags or whatever it is. You'll get better at that. And though that's like the consistency of just doing it. And then in a year later, if you've really done a budget, you'll look back and be like, oh, this is pretty much what I spend month to month. And these are the months that I have this cost and that cost.
It's uncomfortable for a lot of people to know how much they spend on certain things, I think. And that's one thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Just out of sight, out of mind.
Student debt. I don't know how much I have.
Out of sight, out of mind. And I think that's number one step of like, hey, if I want to be more, fiscally responsible for 2024 is really kind of fact checking yourself. Like, and you're, talking about a personal situation where someone spent some money and you're like, I'm like, holy crap. But you don't know
my
that.
My sister, she doesn't care. She spent a lot of money at Chick-fil-A.
And I probably have the same thing where I'm like, I don't know what I spent on, but if I knew, I'd be probably upset. on certain things, or I'm more just blame it on Chelsea, at times. So.
Poor Chelsea.
Yeah.
I'll just say this too, because I feel like money is one of those things that like you don't think it's affecting you probably emotionally, but it is. It's an underlying stress that if you're not taking care of it, it really surfaces in your life. Because unfortunately, money touches everything, and like having a budget is just knowing how much you have and where is it going. And I will say this too, for people that do feel overwhelmed, because me and Luke, when we were younger, we had a season of life where we had a bunch of student debt, and I was like, we need to increase our income. And I would say this, like, we live in a world, and I'm not saying go out all the time for your whole life, but we're in a world where if you need to make a little extra money for a month or a year, a few months to pay off that debt or hit a few goals, you can do that. Like,
There's
we
a
have
lot of
opportunities to make
Yep.
money. Like, Luke used to work a ton of overtime, bless his soul, and I worked a side gig. Like, it's just it was a season, and now it's like so worth it.
Well, me and Molly both worked 2 jobs
Yeah.
at a time, before kids, but it's something that if you want to do some of these savings goals or make more money, you might just have to work more.
And I'll say this too, and I've said this probably 1,000 times, keep living in your means. We live in a world of Instagram, and everyone has a perfect house. Everyone has a perfect birthday party. Everyone has a perfect outfit. Like, I always think this when people are like, I've had people like, how do you think they can afford that? I'm like, well, they're probably not saving anything, or they might have it on a credit. You just don't know. And just worry about you. Like, worry about what your life looks like, how you feel, what's going on with your money, and don't worry about what everyone else is doing.
There you go. No keeping up with the Joneses,
The Joneses.
the Kardashians.
I was going to say, is it still the
That's-
Jones?
Yeah, it's like Kardashians these
Yeah,
days, right?
the
So-
celebrity status, man. They got a lot of money.
Yeah. And then we had one
Yeah.
more.
One more goal that we think would be really good for our clients, our listeners, for 2024 financially.
Yeah, and we don't hear clients say this a whole lot. I guess I've heard clients say this, but a goal that some make is educate yourself. Pick something
Financially, on a financial topic.
Yeah, pick something on financial literacy, whether it's 401ks or IRAs or budget, or pick whatever you think would be best for you, and do some education of yourself and do some research. Now with everything online, it's not hard to find the answers for a lot of this stuff. Now, you can't believe everything you
Yeah, I was
read
just gonna
online.
say,
You
but
can't
be
believe 100% you read online. But educate yourself on what topic is maybe most affecting you or most causing stress in your life when it comes to money. I think that would be helpful for every person out there.
I agree. I think it's, again, I don't look, I don't know, I don't see it. It can't bother me, but it really is. And same with, I think, finance. Like, I especially hear a lot of women like, oh, I just don't know. Like, no one's ever taught me. I believe our school system's broken in that sense of personal finance, but you can learn it. Like, you are smart people. Like, personal finance is something anyone can attain education and knowledge on. Okay, so our listeners, clients, we're going to work on saving more. We're going to work on living within your means, and we're going to educate ourselves.
There you go.
And I'm going to put Cole and Cole on the spot. What are you guys going to do this year to make sure you attain your goals, personal goals?
So the ones that we said before.
Yeah, so when we sit down in a year and I sit down and say, did you achieve this goal? You can say, yes, I did.
Well, the date nights with Molly, I'm going to put them on my calendar, and you guys know typically when things go on my calendar, they're kind of set in stone. I did not do that last year. I did it a couple times and they got moved, and anyway. And then the stop biting my nails, I've already told one of my sons he can yell at me whenever he wants. He's 9, so he's going to do it. I probably should tell my wife, my other 3 kids, that they can do it too. So, but that's how I'm going to kind of keep myself accountable for those 2. The golf enjoyment time, one of those I threw on. I kind of threw on there last minute.
We'll
but,
judge that next year, right? So
yeah, if I don't attain that one, I guess that one's not my highest concern.
You're happier to be around when you golf.
Thank you. I guess.
I'm serious.
I will say for me, one, we're going to have a podcast episode where we do a check-in on our goals. So that's an accountability check mark for me. I'm going to write them down. I was just thinking that when we were going through this, I was like, you know what? Last year I didn't write any of these down anywhere. And I'm a checklist like person. I think that'll help me. And then, obviously having some accountability partners of like, we will have these discussions. I think that's important of finding someone. Maybe it's Chelsea on my personal side of saying, hey, let's try to, can you make a note to maybe bug me on this, or make sure that you ask me how that goal is going, not the person to, them saying, hey, did you Are you getting closer or not?
You guys
know?
you weren't ready for that question. You're like, dang, she put me on the
Yep.
spot.
No, it's good though. It's good. I was thinking about it, how I didn't do that last year.
Cole came in my office this morning. I had a blue paper on there. He's like, "What's that?" And he went to grab it. I was like, "Don't be grabbing that off my desk. It was my 2023 goals because I put them all out there." And
I knew the way you had it folded up, it was something personal, so I was just messing with you.
Trying to make her squirm.
But I think they have to be very meaningful to you, and you need to know that it's important to you, or it's not going to be important. You're not going to hit it. But I was going to say writing them out and like putting them up somewhere where you see them is like your own self accountability. Like when you look over it, you're like, okay, that's important to me. Like I'm going to keep being intentional about that. That would be my pro tip if you wanted it. If you wanted it.
Well, you're the only one that attained all your goals.
You're the pro. You're the pro of the group.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're excited. We're going to have more guests this year. More topics. We're going to go over some retirement planning, a lot of good things, but we're excited for
It's going to be a great 2024.
Yeah.
Next episode is a guest, and then the episode after that, they're going to start a episode series, and I won't tell you what it is, but just be on the lookout for that.
Thank you, Caleb.
Little teaser.
Teaser drop.
Also, I'm going to remind Bailey to do this. Make sure you follow the podcast, like the podcast, share the podcast, send the little segments that we put on the Instagram Reels or Facebook Reels because we're not on Instagram anymore. Make sure that you send those to people. Get people to listen to the podcast. It helps us continue to grow it.
Yeah, the algorithm. Do you know what an algorithm is, Cole?
It means a lot of things at one time.
Good, that's great. That's
but we
simple.
appreciate it. Like if you, like our last listener who found us, like if you find this information educational and you enjoy it, yeah, please share it. We appreciate that. A life is not important except that in the impact it has on other lives. Jackie Robinson.
Go Cubs.
You've been listening to How to Money with Cole and Cole, the podcast of Full Swing Financial Planning. To learn more, visit their website at www.fullswingfinancial.com and follow them on Facebook and LinkedIn.
For now, I'm Cole.
I'm Bailey.
And I'm Cole.
And we'll see you on the greens.
4. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA, SIPC.